Welcome back. Canadian cities are sitting on top of aging infrastructure with very real cost. Here's a look by the numbers. The national infrastructure deficit, which includes fixes needed to roads, bridges, water systems, and transit, is estimated at $270 billion. The cost of much of that infrastructure falls to local governments. They own 60% of that core infrastructure, but get 8 to 10 cents of every tax dollar collected. Meanwhile, with a push on to build more homes, it's estimated that $126 billion of housing-enabled infrastructure is in poor condition or at risk of near-term failure. That's 11% of the total. Meanwhile, water systems are a core culprit with a replacement value of $107 billion and drinkable water losses up 13% between 2011 and 2021. Meanwhile, extreme weather costs are adding up. Insured losses hit a record $8.5 billion in 2024, but uninsured losses could be even higher. The issue is very much in focus in Alberta. A pipe carrying 60% of Calgary's drinking water burst for a second time after $38.2 million was spent patching it in 2024. Calgary will spend $1.1 billion implementing upgrades. Calgary's total infrastructure gap is estimated at $7.7 billion. For now, Calgarians' water is back to normal, but there's more pain ahead as the city makes plans to repair the pipeline that caused last year's leak. I spoke with the mayor of Calgary, Jeromy Farkas, and asked him for an update on the status of that breakdown.
So for a city of almost 2 million people, we have about 60% of Calgary's water goes through one single pipe. And unfortunately, this pipe is terminally ill. It's a ticking time bomb. There's no amount of patchwork that's actually going to be able to get it into a shape that'll last in the long term. So it could continue to break next week, next month, next year. We just don't know, which is why we have to move faster than we've ever done anything before to build the replacement. This is typically a very complex project in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, would usually take about 4 years, but we've set a really ambitious goal to be able to finish this in one single calendar year. So we're hoping to do in one single year what otherwise would take 4. And going into our spring and fall, we're anticipating some more proactive shutdowns, asks of Calgarians to help support water conservation measures. But in the short term, we are monitoring the situation and we're moving fast to fix this, not just for the next week or next month, but for hopefully the next 100 years.
Calgary is promising to move at record speed on the pipeline repair. I asked Mayor Farkas how he will do it.
So a big piece is procurement. We moved to immediately sole source the contracts for project management, as well as the micro-tunneling. We're using a micro-tunneling technology about 30 meters below surface. And this allows us to avoid the typical delays that you would think of in terms of surface level construction. Along this corridor, it's one of the busiest areas of Calgary, with hundreds of businesses, tens of thousands of Calgarians living in the vicinity. So going deep underground actually allows us to be able to do this with minimizing surface level considerations, as well as there's going to be a cost to it. So of course, there's incredible amount of cost to hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure. But when we think about the overall city budget, we were able to allocate a significant portion of this back in November in our recent budget discussions. And the fact that this is infrastructure that we'll rely on, hopefully for the next 50 to 100 years, allows us to be able to spread out the cost to be able to justify some of those cost increases.
The cost of maintaining the water system is supposed to be borne by current users. I asked Calgary's Mayor Farkas if Calgarians today are paying a price for work that should have been done years ago.
Well, a big thing was successive city councils and city administration that had not provided proper oversight to the not just the funding, but also some of the governance, the proactive maintenance schedules, and so on. And I want to be really clear that as the mayor of Calgary, public safety resides with me. Public accountability for this rests with me. We understand the problem and we're moving really fast to be able to solve it. And from coast to coast to coast, the infrastructure deficit is a big issue for municipalities, period. I've been having a lot of conversation with other big city mayors. All eyes are on Calgary in terms of what the issue is, how this problem occurred, but more importantly, what we're doing to fix it. But this is a live issue for many other cities across Canada in terms of, and I'm going to be blunt here, just the lack of sexiness of the critical infrastructure underneath the ground. You know, it's relatively easy to support spending the money on the things that your constituents and voters will see versus asking with transparency to pay for the things that they don't necessarily see. Our council is doing things differently. We're going to be very transparent, blunt with Calgarians in terms of what went wrong, how we're falling short in terms of how we fund this, and also ultimately what it's going to cost. But we think by being proactive, we can actually help taxpayers and ratepayers save money. An example is we lose about 25% of Calgary's treated drinking water right now due to the aging nature of our pipes. If we can spend the money modestly now to be able to fix our pipes, we could potentially reduce the rates that Calgarians pay over the medium and long term significantly. Think about it like properly maintaining your house. You can skimp in the short term, avoid making those roof repairs or furnace repairs, but in the long term, you'll only pay more. So there is actually a strong fiscal case for dealing with this here and now, and that's what our council has chosen to do.
Well, the city of Calgary plans to spend heavily on renewing its water infrastructure. I asked Mayor Jeromy Farkas what role other level of governments should play.
Well, certainly the Prime Minister and this federal government have put unprecedented levels of funding on the table. And certainly here in Calgary, we're going to want to make sure Alberta gets its fair share of that and that Calgary gets its fair share of what Alberta gets. The cost is significant. However, I would ask Canadians to think about what's the cost of not dealing with this, right? We had 2 million people who were on the brink of running out of safe, reliable, clean drinking water here in Calgary. And, you know, it was a Calgary specific concern, but this could have happened in many other cities from coast to coast to coast. This is a really essential service that we have to ensure that we're properly funding. And if we avoid those costs, we end up just paying way more over the long term. So yes, there is a cost to dealing with this, but the cost to ignoring it is arguably much more severe and much more disastrous in terms of potential for loss of life.
I asked Calgary's Mayor Farkas if moving faster on the waterline repair will help the city get speedier on infrastructure building in general.
That's what we're hoping to do. We are rallying to make this Calgary Civic missions, Calgary Civic moonshot. We've done hard things before. We've gotten ready for the Olympics in less than 5 years. We built our Saddle Dome in about 2. We're not afraid of taking on hard challenges like this, and it's going to require Calgarians to work together. It's not just an engineering challenge. We are going to need to see proactive shutdowns of our water pipe over the spring and fall, which means that Calgarians are going to have to help support us as we deliver this needed work. And as well, we're thinking about what it means to be that city of 2 million people. We have about 200,000 people moving to the Calgary region on a yearly basis. This is an exciting place to be right now. And we want to make sure that as we continue to grow, we meet those needs in terms of housing, safety, infrastructure, all those core services that municipalities deliver. And we also need to be thinking about infrastructure, not just in terms of the pipe in the ground, but also people, the services, dealing with some of those issues around, say, crime prevention, safety, mental health, addiction. This is as essential infrastructure as any water pipe. And our hope is that here in Calgary, we can show the rest of the country what it looks like to be proactive, to deliver on those quality services, but ultimately save ratepayers and taxpayers money by dealing with the problem here and now, rather than leave it to some other mayor and council to deal with.
Jeromy Farkas is the mayor of Calgary. Coming up, a U.S.-based tech investor says it will no longer put money in Canadian companies. Stay with us.